13 minutes.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
So do you want me to say 13 minutes or 2 minutes left?
2 minutes left.
2 minutes left.
Thank you. Where are they?
Okay, judges, when you're ready, give me a wave and you guys can make your way through. Go, there we go. We've got, first up, we've got Chris,
Good to see you again.
Chanel,
Hi, Shani.
Rowan,
Hey, hi, Ron.
Koen,
Hi, good to meet you, Kun.
Quincy,
Quincy.
Peter,
Hi, Peter.
Tim,
Tim.
Nicole,
Nicole.
and last but not least, our head
Thank you
judge, Nina.
Thank you so much, Nina.
Okay, Tiny, you know exactly what to do. You can cue your music, and when you're ready to perform, you can call time.
Sorry. Yeah. Can I get my music, please? In time. The past is experience. The present is experiment, and the future is expectation. Use your experience in your experiments rather, to achieve your expectations. Now, the author of that quote is still unknown, and yet those words perfectly encompass Juan Dario and his family farm that has been around for over 40 years. This Colombian farm that is located in Los Pinos, Huela, is one that once only had the Bourbon varietal, with which Juan Dario's father made the decision not to only just enter a specialty coffee competition, but he also chose to win it. And that motivated Juan Dario's father to focus on quality processing on their farm. It was only 7 years ago, though, that the family decided to renovate the farm. This was in celebration of Juan Dario's mother's life, and they decided to plant 3,000 of this geisha. 3,000 trees, rather, of this geisha. This geisha currently grows at elevations varying between 1,700 meters above sea level and 1,800 meters above sea level. So for your first beverage, the espresso, I want you to expect to experience 7 years of many trials and errors. And those, were able to achieve these results by roasting this coffee for 9.5 minutes, with an end temperature of 209 degrees Celsius and a development of 17.5%. So with that, you can expect a medium acidity, a low to medium sweetness, and a low bitterness. Additionally, you can expect a lightweight with a velvety texture, and you can also expect a short finish. Now, when I do place these espressos in front of you, I will ask that you don't drink them as yet. Your drinking instructions and your flavor notes will follow. Now, many people have said that it sometimes takes a major loss for major growth to occur. And for some people, it might just be a major haircut that signifies this massive life change. For myself, it was the loss of my brother that allowed me to evolve into the person that you see today, who might be a little bit too expressive, but I'm able to share a page out of a farmer's book. So I want you to expect to experience flavors of tangerine in your first sip, as well as lime in your second.
Round of applause for Tiny's espresso.
Right, and then finally for your drinking instructions. In the pairs, as you stand, in the spirit of experiencing a moment like this together, I do want you to stir your espressos 3 times, and then in the pairs as you stand, give each other a nod of acknowledgement, not just of readiness, but also as acknowledgement of sharing this experience. You're welcome to go ahead.
Round of applause for Tiny's espresso.
Now, as we finalize the evaluation of the espresso, I do want to share a thought, a personal opinion, if you may. I have recently started to believe that as coffee professionals, baristas, roasters, you name it, we tend to believe and think that the processing methods of a coffee are the sole responsibility of a farmer to execute without any hiccups. And yet, unless that processing method is experimental, and yet we forget that processing methods, like this gaseous anaerobic process, was once experimental. In fact, it was Juan Dario's past experience as an ergonomist that got me thinking about this. His ability to experiment with 2 different dry fermentation phases to allow the fruitiness in this coffee to evolve, as well as the sweetness, is what actually made me believe that even the anaerobic part of this processing is not a major loss just because there's no air in part of this process. Instead, I do see it as a major growth. So it actually got me to think that maybe I should join in his experimentation. And like any other experiment, there needs to be a constant variable. And my constant will be the dosage of 20 grams of coffee that I'll be putting in every espresso for each course, as well as the 40 milliliter yield that you'll get in all your espressos. You know, this is your water on the side. Now the experimentation part comes in my milk. I'll be using a 1-to-1 ratio of a 60% freeze-distilled full cream Ayrshire milk with a 40% freeze-distilled lactose-free milk. Now the addition of this milk will not just elevate the sweetness of this coffee, but it will highlight all the fruity notes. So with that, please be prepared to take the following notes down. Please expect to get unripe mango in your first sip, and you can expect overripe pineapple in your second. This will give you a medium to high sweetness with a low bitterness and a low to medium acidity. Now, if you've missed any of the notes that I have just mentioned for your espresso or your milk or any other course, please note that they are on the coasters below you, so you may use them as reference. But once I do place your beverage in front of you, please go ahead and indulge. That's yours, please enjoy. That's yours, please enjoy, Chanel. And this is for you to enjoy. And last but not least, that's yours to enjoy. Please enjoy.
Let's put our hands together for Tiny's milk-based courses, folks.
Now, if you're ready for your expectations to be exceeded, I will ask you to take the following notes down for your final beverage. I'll be adding 3 components to your final beverage. The first will be 30 milliliters of Evaporated sparkling water that will ensure that the cleanliness that you experienced in your other courses is not lost, but rather a mouthfeel of effervescence is experienced. Your second component will be 9 grams of a yuzu milk chocolate that will complement the citrus flavors of this coffee while also adding to the sweetness of the final beverage. And your final component will be 250 milliliters of a red cherry pulp, which I reduced using 70 milliliters of water for 20 minutes on a low heat in order to get the flavors of the red cherry to caramelize, but also to ensure that the sweetness is achieved in this beverage. I'll be using only 15 milliliters of this red cherry reduction. So with these 3 components, you can expect a flavor transformation to a strawberry fizzer flavor, as well as a candied Pop-Tart flavor. You can also expect a medium sweetness with a low to medium acidity and a low bitterness. Please also be expectant of a silky mouthfeel with a light weight and a lingering finish. Now, to construct your beverage, I'm adding my 2 espressos to yuzu milk chocolate in order to let the chocolate firstly melt, but also to ensure that the flavors bind to the espresso. I ran it over some ice to rapidly cool the espresso. This way I'll be heightening the sweetness in the espresso.
2 minutes.
Now what I've done backstage is prepare the red cherry reduction in a cream gun in order to add effervescence to this drink and to also add volume. But in the spirit of experiencing things together, your drinking instructions will follow, so I will ask you to not interact with this beverage just yet. So many people have also said that today is a gift, and that's why we call it the present. In fact, I heard that once on Kung Fu Panda, when Master Shifu actually said it to the same panda that is on my wrist. That actually inspired me on how Master Shifu was able to harness Poe's potential, if I can say, in order to get him to evolve. I've lived a very similar life. So with this beverage, I want you to be expectant of experiencing the future of Colombia. So with that being said, I do want to end on a quote that Mahatma Gandhi once said. He said that the future depends on what we do today. So go ahead and please mix in your syringe as well as your espresso into your glass. Swirl it on the instruction, and then you're welcome to enjoy. But once I give you the instructions, your last element will be the sparkling water, and I'll be portioning out exactly 7.5 milliliters of this for you. And with that, judges, this has been an absolute pleasure. Please go ahead and follow my drinking instructions. And finally, time.
Coffee Company. Tiny, you can come and step aside. Sure. Jeepers. Right? How does this make you feel, Tiny? How does this make
That's
you
how.
feel?
I feel quite supported, so thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it so much.
A little bit, eh? A little bit.
Just a wee bit.
I haven't been around for that long. There's some that have been around for much longer than me, but I've never seen this before. TriBeCa is like a long lineage of like barista competitors, right?
Yeah.
As I've said, we had Mr. Harry Mull here as well. What does it feel like representing a company like this on stage?
Oh man, it's an honor. I think that I have also like a huge lineage of people to represent in this 15 minutes, but also I'm very honored to be able to represent not just the baristas or past baristas, but also our roasters, our baristas, my team, and thank you so much also for Lucky Bread for helping me with this.
You set at a really nice balance of like technical coffee aspects. You shared some personal information. You shared apparently some of your movie preferences as well.
I like animation.
Looks like our judges are ready,
Okay.
right? No.
Not yet.
Yes. Okay, let's just say goodbye to our judges and then we'll get back to it.
Pinky, pinky, ponky. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Round of applause for our judges, folks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter.
Such a
Thank
tough
you.
job tasting amazing
Thank you.
coffees all day. Jeepers. Okay, yeah, so technical coffee things, some personal experience, movie preference, like what was the approach to your set? And I think a lot of people can learn here, like how you kind of, you came up with it, how you, tell us about that.
It's going to be interesting because initially I just wanted to go technical and farmer, and I was encouraged to share a little bit about myself as well. I think sometimes on a platform like this it's a bit scary to get a little bit personal, but I think it's probably the most important part of this entire experience because behind the coffee is a barista. So I kind of put together the farmer's experience and his life story and a bit of mine because it kind of connected in many parts as well. And then obviously I tried to be funny.
Nice. Yeah, this is a coffee competition, so tell us about the coffee. Why did you choose this specific coffee?
Because from a few different coffees, this actually tasted the best. I was looking for something very different. This coffee did challenge us a lot to finally get the flavor notes and the correct roast profile, but it was by far the best coffee I've tasted in probably the past 2 years.
Awesome, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so it might be a long list, but this is your time to thank whoever's helped you. Anybody, the floor is yours, as long as you like.
Okay, so first of all, Martin, Dale, Natasha, thank you so much for all the support and making sure that this actually happens. I really appreciate it. The backstage people, Sam and Tshabalala, for the early mornings and late nights, I really appreciate it as well. Lucky Bread, I could not thank you guys enough for helping me develop this signature drink. It's the best one I've ever made, so thank you. And for every single person that helped taste my coffee, to help motivate me and literally get me to this place and who I am today, I could not be thankful enough, so thank you.
They say it takes a village, folks. A final round of applause for Tiny Tshabalala, TriBeCa Coffee Company.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just like that, folks, Flate, the story is 8. That's the last barista competitor for the day. We will now be moving over to latte art. So for those of you that have a keen interest in art, please stick around. We've got 6 more latte art competitors coming up very, very soon.